Hi everyone, my name is Ierie, and this is Reminisce with This, where I take a little time out of my day to sit and reminisce with you on simpler times. From all of my different hobbies, interests, and collections, I share with you a little bit of what is intertwined with them. That is the memories that I made along the way with these hobbies, interests, and collections that hold something so much more dear to me than the items themselves. Though it's what keeps these hobbies alive and why I continue to collect all of the different variations of things that I obtain. Now, for myself, of course, time and time again, it really boils down to the memories that I make with these particular moments, with the people that I have had in my life or have in my life, that I continue to enjoy the things that I do. The simple things that most people overlook and or just may not even take a second guess at or a second look of any sort. And, it's something that I am very passionate about simply because of the people or the places that have brought me here. A lot of the people in my life are no longer here that have cultivated a lot of these specific hobbies and or are just in my life and or no longer in my life. And by no means do I wish any ill will to anybody, because if it wasn't for them, I don't know where my collection would be, honestly, if I even would be collecting still. But again, it is what it is. This is my journey through my own happiness. It's my journey through the things that I collect and the memories that I share. Today, I will be sharing something with you that really brings a smile to my face. It's one of my favorite moments from my childhood, as this movie was kind of pure chaos in the best way. Cheesy as heck as I look back on it now and as I watch this movie today, but still nonetheless, it's one of my all-time favorite movies. I remember from when watching it as a kid and renting it on VHS and really just seeing the movie for what it was, I grew fond of this particular movie, so much so that when I was able to find it later on in life on DVD at a random video store, I instantly was brought back to that time when I was a kid, when I was watching this movie on endless nights, and just time and time again, I would pop it into my VHS player and continue enjoying this movie. Rewind, repeat, because I always just really enjoyed what it was. So for Throwback Thursday, join me as I talk about one of my favorite movies of all time, which is going to be Monkeybone. It does star Brendan Fraser. Now, most people, of course, remember him from The Mummy, but for myself, this is where it started. It was because of this movie that I grew fond of Brendan Fraser and watched the movies like The Mummy. This movie came out in 2001 as I was a small child. In 2001, I was roughly about 7 years old. Now, I remember watching this movie and just thinking it was so much fun. I definitely could say that a lot of the innuendos went over my head as a 7-year-old, but for what it's worth, I still really enjoyed it. And now as an adult, I can really enjoy those innuendos a little bit further as I can understand them. It is definitely a movie from pure chaos to start to finish. You follow Brendan Fraser's character throughout this endeavor of this crazy movie. He is an artist that gets in an accident, goes into a coma, and from the coma, he ends up in what is basically called downtown. Downtown is a place where people that are in comas go, and you see his adventure of trying to come out of that while he comes into contact with the different creations he's drawn over the years. from his own personal nightmares of characters and things like that that he has created. They end up in this coma setting of this downtown. You get to meet a lot of funny characters throughout it, like Monkeybone. Monkeybone is one of the characters that he created from one of the nightmares or dreams that he had, and as you see the character progress throughout the movie, you see that he ends up being a little bit less afraid of his own nightmares and more afraid of what could happen as his coma comes to a possible end. You follow different characters along the way. You'll see surprise guests of Rose McGowan and Whoopi Goldberg. There's a couple other characters throughout this movie, certain actors and things like that definitely add a little bit more substance to it. The Whoopi Goldberg's character definitely makes me laugh still to this day, and Rose McGowan's character is honestly quite interesting. Now, I love Rose McGowan from the Charmed franchise, and of course also the first Scream movie, but I really enjoyed her in this movie as well. This movie plays out for what it is. It's a cheesy movie, so if you're expecting much, you're really not going to get it. If you're expecting one of the best movies of all time, I wouldn't categorize that unless you really enjoy the cheesiness of these types of movies. This particular movie is one that you can kind of get the cringe from time to time. And for myself, I'm one of those people that while watching movies and there's a cringy moment or something kind of awkward, I feel that to my core. And there's times that for sure I catch this particular feeling from this movie. But then I'm brought back to when I was a kid and how all of the different moments that I got to watch this movie and enjoy, and really just stayed up late watching this movie on repeat. So much so that I probably, just like all of the other movies I played on repeat, drove the people in my life mad about it until, honestly, one day this VHS disappeared. Now, I'm not necessarily sure if it was just what it was, that we moved around quite a bit, so there's a possibility it got lost in the mix there. But there's also a possibility that it was thrown away, as, like I said, I watched this movie endlessly. This is a movie that I really do enjoy today, and I highly recommend, if you want something just fun, lighthearted, and not too serious, I recommend watching this. If you have not seen this Brendan Fraser movie, it's quite underrated. Now, of course, it is slight claymation of Monkeybone. There are some moments that you get to see throughout the movie that, honestly, it definitely shows early 2000s. From the style to the way that they talk, the overall just theatrics of the movie definitely screams early 2000s. And quite frankly, I wouldn't have it any other way. And honestly, it's just a great movie. I really think it's funny as heck, and I could not be more happy that I have this movie and that I watched this movie as a kid. Like I said, this is definitely not a movie that a kid should watch, but because for what it was, and I necessarily didn't understand all of the innuendos and lingo there, but I enjoyed the aspect of this character ending up in a coma and what could possibly happen during that time. Now, I may not have understood, I should say, the full scope of what a coma was and how that character came to be and all of that, but it was honestly fun to see. It kind of reminds me of a more, for the downtown aspect, a more mature version of Halloween Town. Now, of course, that's a movie I grew up with as well, and might end up showing up here at some point in time, but for this particular movie itself, like I said, it's just, honestly, I think it's one of my favorite Brendan Fraser movies. It does go side by side with of course, the Mummies, the Mummy franchise, as what it is an honest, amazing genre of movies for what it was back in the day. Now, do they completely hold up to the time of test of time, I should say? I would say not necessarily. There are some very interesting way that they did the editing for the movies and stuff like that now we can look back and laugh on. And that's no different from Monkeybone. Monkeybone, from start to finish, is going to be, like I said, a pure chaos in the best way. You do follow quite a bit of this crazy journey, to put it politely, of this monkey becoming human. This monkey that was once a thought idea of it just being more of a cartoon, and with him coming to life, you see a lot of this animalistic type of human character. He possesses the body of Stu, who is Brandon Fraser's character in the movie, and then you see him, in a way, take the place of Stu, and while Stu is trapped in the coma world, he has to fight his way through and get back to becoming Stu. With doing so, he ends up, getting out of the coma, but going into the body of a dead man. With that dead man, you see kind of a overall just funny, in a way, a zombie could be without being a zombie, and exactly how chaotic it could be for this particular dead person being an organ donor, and how that organ donor is being chased by the people that need the organs. Like I said, it's pure chaos throughout this movie. It's super cheesy, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Like I said, it brings me back to the early 2000s when things could have been a little bit more simpler. Like I stated, we did move around quite a bit, so for the most part, I should say, movies and things like that became my safe haven. It's something that I knew, and it's something that I could consistently watch over and over, as that's the form of control I had during these situations. And it's why I hold on to so many of these movies and figures and things like that so dearly, because that's the sense of control I had as a kid who moved around a lot. Now, by no means do I have any qualms with how much we moved around. Maybe when I was younger, I did. But now as an adult, I can really reflect on all of the different experiences I got to have. But I can say, with this reflection and reminiscing on these types of movies and how much I moved around, I can say that's why I enjoy the movies that I do today. That's why I watch these movies time and time again, because it brings me back to a simple time where, as a kid, the only thing that I really had control over was what I enjoyed. And what I enjoyed brought me joy all throughout the years and to where I'm at today. So when finding this movie, I really could say that this movie brought me so much happiness when I found it, that I honestly, after not thinking about it for quite some time, when I did find it, I instantly watched it on repeat time and time again. I showed an ex-partner this movie, and it cultivated some memories throughout the years to kind of just share my favorite movie to people and places and experiences that I probably wouldn't have been able to cultivate if I didn't have that moment in 2001 when I was a kid watching this movie and having the fondness of it. Like I stated, we moved around quite a bit, and like I said as well, it was the only sense of control that I had when it comes to the type of things that I watched. Now, was it completely appropriate? No, not by any means. But I highly recommend taking a look at this movie if you have not seen it. If you would like something a little bit more fun and lighthearted and just something to kind of bring you back to the early 2000s and reminisce a little bit of that time period and just how crazy and just the antics of those movies of that time period, I would highly recommend checking out Monkeybone. It is one of my all-time favorite movies. It probably lands in my top 10 favorite movies of all time, simply for just the nostalgic reasons. Like I said, it's by no means a movie to take seriously. If you are going to watch it, lead in with an open mind that you're going to probably be cringed out or just it's going to be so cheesy that you might want to turn it off, but I highly recommend just finishing it to the end just to say that you did. So with that being said, thank you for letting me ramble on about one of my favorite movies, I should say, Monkeybone. And, I'm really appreciative of the fact that I get to spend these moments talking about these things and reflecting, like I said, on different aspects of my life. Something I wouldn't have really thought about if I didn't start this channel and start to talk about the things from my childhood and throughout the years, like as simple as moving around. We moved around so much that this was the sense of control that I had. But again, by no means do I feel any qualms towards it, but it has helped me have a different perspective now as the adult that I am. That for what it is, I continue to watch these movies and enjoy this time because sometimes that feels like the only sense of control I have. So if you understand, then I hope that you enjoy this movie, as it brings me joy and it continues to put a smile on my face, even some 20 odd years later. So, with that being said, thank you for hanging out with me on Throwback Thursday. And per usual, if no one's told you that you are loved, cherished, and or cared about today, just know that I love you, I cherish you, and I care about you. Thank you for reminiscing with me on this lovely day. I am going to get ready for sleep myself, and I hope you have a wonderful one. Until tomorrow, for Favorite Friday, I will catch you next time. Peace.